What if I told you there's a website paying in dollars for something you probably already do every day, without needing to invest anything, without experience, and without leaving home? Would you believe it, or would you think it's just another internet scam? The truth is, most people have lost faith when they hear about making money online. And it's no coincidence. There are so many exaggerated promises, so many miraculous methods, and so many people selling unrealistic dreams that it's difficult to separate what really works from what's just an illusion. But let me ask you something very direct. Have you ever been through this? Have you ever seen a video saying you could make easy money? Got excited, tried it, and in the end, realized it wasn't quite like that? Yes, this happens to a lot of people. And that's exactly why what you're about to discover might surprise you. Because it's not about getting rich overnight, it's not about a secret hack hidden on the internet. And it's certainly not something complicated that only experts can do. In fact, it's the opposite. There's a simple, accessible, and real way to earn money online, getting paid in dollars. Using basic skills you probably already use in your daily life. Things you do on your phone or computer without even realizing they could become a source of income. And the best part, this is available to practically anyone with internet access. Now think about it. While many people remain stuck on the idea that you can only make money with a formal employment contract or working long hours without stopping, there is a group of people who have already understood how to take advantage of these online opportunities to create extra income, and in some cases, even a new main source of income. And it all starts with something simple, the right information. You might be thinking, okay, but why would someone pay in dollars for something so simple? And that's a completely valid question. After all, when we talk about personal finance and wealth building, it's normal to be suspicious of anything that seems too easy. But the logic behind it is much simpler than it appears. And when you understand it, everything starts to make sense. The world has changed. Today, companies worldwide need real people to perform small tasks, interact with platforms, test services, generate data, create engagement. And that's exactly where opportunities like this come in. What was once seen as something worthless has now become part of a gigantic market within the universe of making money online. And here's an important detail. When you start earning in dollars, even amounts considered small abroad can become much more attractive when converted to reais. This opens a huge door for those who want to start improving their financial lives, get out of financial trouble, and take the first steps in building wealth. But hold on, before you leave thinking this is just another empty promise, stick with me until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly how it works, clearly and directly, without beating around the bush. And more than that, you'll understand how to use this type of opportunity the right way, without falling into the common traps that most people fall into when they start trying to make money online. What I'm going to show you here isn't just about a specific website, it's about changing the way you see money, work, and the possibilities that exist in today's digital environment. Because when you understand this game, you stop being just another person trying and start acting strategically. And that's exactly why. Before I reveal which website it is and how you can get started today, you need to understand a fundamental point that few people talk about, and that's what can make all the difference in your results from now on. NTE. And before we move on to the part that can literally change the way you see making money online, let me tell you something really quick, but important, because this isn't just about watching a video, it's about building something together. If this topic resonates with you, if you identified with anything I've said so far, or even if you have a question or doubt, leave it in the comments. It could be about your experience trying to make money online, what's holding you back today, or even what you hope to find different this time. Honestly, I read these comments, and it's precisely based on them that I bring you increasingly direct and to-the-point content, without beating around the bush. And another thing, when you like this video, it seems simple, but it helps much more than you imagine. That's what makes the video reach more people who are in exactly the same situation as you, looking for a real way to improve their lives, to earn dollars, to get out of debt, or at least to start building an extra income online. Your action here can literally make this message reach someone who needs to hear it right now. And if you want to continue discovering this type of opportunity, without false promises, without illusory shortcuts, but with strategies that really work in the real world, subscribe to the channel now. Because the idea here is not just to show you an option, it's to show you a path. A path that, step by step, can take you to a completely different level of financial mindset and income generation. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content. And when more people start to understand how the game works, more people can break free from that cycle of frustration and truly begin to build something solid. Now then, with that in mind, let me show you the point that almost no one talks about, and which may be exactly what you're missing to get started the right way. Average. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because there's a hidden truth that few people realize when they start looking for ways to make money online. The problem has never been a lack of opportunities. The problem has always been how we've been conditioned to see those opportunities. From a young age, most people learn that money comes from hard work, time sold, and traditional methods. So, when something simple, accessible, and different appears, the first reaction is to doubt, ignore, or even sabotage oneself. And this is where the transformation begins, because the moment you change your mindset, you start to see what has always been there, but went unnoticed. It's not about magic, it's about decisions. Deciding to look more closely, to test more intelligently, and to stop discarding possibilities just because they deviate from the pattern you've been taught. Behind the scenes of this type of opportunity, a silent movement is happening. Ordinary people, with normal routines, are taking advantage of small digital loopholes to generate income in dollars, without needing to show their face, without needing to invest heavily, and, most importantly, without depending on anyone's approval. And this completely changes the game. Because when you realize you no longer need to ask permission to earn money, everything takes on a new meaning. But there's one detail that makes all the difference on this journey: how you start. Many people begin wrong, with misaligned expectations, wanting immediate results, and end up giving up before understanding their true potential. And perhaps that has been your case until now. Not due to a lack of ability, but due to a lack of clear direction. What I'm showing you here goes beyond a simple method. It's about seeing the impact of small actions repeated strategically. It's about getting out of autopilot and starting to act consciously. Because when you understand this, even the simplest tasks can turn into real opportunities. And if at any point this started to make sense to you, comment below. I'm starting to see things differently. And now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because once you start to see things differently, comes the part that many people avoid facing. The real problem that prevents most from moving forward. And no, it has nothing to do with lack of time, lack of opportunity, or even lack of ability. The root of this lies in the way decisions are made daily, almost always automatically, without awareness of the impact this generates throughout the journey. Many people say they want to make money online, build a dollar income, change their lives. But in practice, they remain trapped in the same patterns, consuming content without taking action, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. And this is one of the biggest invisible traps, the illusion that simply knowing is enough. But knowledge without action doesn't generate transformation, and without transformation, nothing changes. There is also a silent pressure coming from the outside. Opinions, judgments, doubts, all of this creates an internal barrier that makes the person freeze before even trying. And behind the scenes, while this is happening, other people with less information, but with more attitude, are moving forward, making mistakes, adjusting, and, little by little, building real results. This is an uncomfortable truth, but it needs to be said, because what separates those who succeed from those who only try is not luck, nor extraordinary talent. It's clarity in action. It's understanding the game and getting into it, even without having all the answers. And perhaps the most curious thing about all this is realizing that many of these opportunities require far less than you imagine. It's not about doing something extraordinary, but about doing the basics the right way, with consistency and strategy. But for that, you first need to see where you're sabotaging yourself, and what exactly is preventing you from taking the next step. And if this reflection resonated with you in any way, comment here. Enough of this nonsense. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because after understanding what's holding you back, it becomes much easier to see the opportunity when it arises. And this is exactly where one of the biggest turning points in this journey happens. Most people are so focused on finding something complicated, something big, that they simply ignore what is simple. And it is precisely in simplicity that some of the best entry points are hidden. There's a hidden truth that almost no one talks about. Many companies today aren't looking for specialists or highly qualified people. They're looking for ordinary people, with real behavior, to perform small actions that help them grow. And these actions are part of a much larger system that moves money every day behind the scenes on the internet. The most interesting thing is that these tasks, which seem small at first glance, have a direct impact within this digital ecosystem, and that's why they are paid for. It's not a favor, it's not luck, it's market logic. You deliver something that has value, and you get paid for it. Simple as that. But because this completely deviates from the traditional model we've learned, many people end up not taking it seriously. And here's the point that can change how you see all of this. You don't need to reinvent the wheel to get started. You don't need to wait until you feel ready, nor do you need advanced technical skills. What you need is to understand how this game works and where you fit into it. Because when you find that fit, even simple tasks start to generate results. This is the mindset shift that separates those who only consume content from those who actually start to take action. And when you understand this, you realize that the access was always there, you just weren't looking at it the right way. And if this has started to clarify your vision in any way, comment here. Now it makes sense. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because after understanding how this logic works behind the scenes, the time has come to reveal something more concrete. Something that takes all of this out of the realm of theory and puts it into practice. And this is where many people are surprised, because they realize that it's not as far off as they thought. There's a specific website that pays ordinary people every day, in dollars, for simple tasks that anyone can do. And the most curious thing is that, even though it's accessible, it still goes unnoticed by most. Not because it's hidden, but because it demands exactly what almost no one applies: attention and action. This type of platform acts as a bridge between companies that need real interaction and people willing to perform these small tasks. Behind the scenes, there's a whole structure behind it, involving testing, validation, user behavior, and data collection. And that's precisely why payment happens. There's a clear value being generated there. What makes all this even more interesting is that you don't need complicated approvals or lengthy processes to get started. In many cases, a simple registration is all it takes to access your first tasks. This completely shatters the idea that making money online is something distant or inaccessible. But here's an important thought: it's not the website itself that changes the game. It's how you choose to use that opportunity. Because two people can have access to the same tool, but completely different results. And that goes directly back to the issue of mindset, consistency, and strategy. Before I show you exactly what this website is and how you can get started today, there's a detail that almost no one notices that could be the deciding factor between earning little or actually turning it into something relevant in your journey. And if this revelation has already opened a new horizon in your mind, comment here: "I didn't know that." So, now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because understanding how this works in practice is what truly transforms curiosity into action. When you enter this type of platform, what you find is nothing complicated or unrealistic. On the contrary, they are simple, straightforward tasks that often involve things like testing apps, watching content, answering quick surveys, or even interacting with certain pages. And here's the point that many people ignore: the value isn't in the complexity of the task, but in the combination of tasks. Each small action is part of a larger system, and that's what generates real impact. Behind the scenes, companies are analyzing behavior, validating ideas, and optimizing products. And you, by performing these tasks, become part of that process, being compensated for it. The time you dedicate can vary, and that's one of the great advantages. You're not tied to a fixed schedule. You don't depend on a boss, nor on a rigid routine. You decide when and how much you want to do. And that completely changes the dynamic, because it puts the control in your hands. But at the same time, it demands responsibility. Because freedom without direction doesn't generate results. Another important detail is that the gains start small, and that's part of the journey. Many people give up right there because they don't see the medium-term potential. But those who understand the game realize that consistency trumps intensity. Doing a little every day, with strategy, ends up generating a cumulative effect that is surprising. And this is where one of the biggest revelations comes in. It's not about doing a lot at once, but about doing it the right way, repeatedly. Small decisions, made consciously, build something much bigger over time. And if you've started to visualize how this could work in your routine, comment here: "I can see this happening." Yes. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because at some point you might be wondering, okay, but does this really work, or is it just another well-told promise? And that doubt is valid because it shows that you are thinking critically. But here comes an important shift in mindset. Instead of just looking for external proof, you start to observe the logic behind it all. Think about it. Large companies invest millions every year to understand behavior, improve products, and validate ideas before scaling. And for that, they need something that no artificial intelligence can fully replicate: real people making real decisions. That's where these platforms come in. They connect this demand with ordinary people, creating a system where both sides win. Behind the scenes, this has been happening for years. Usability tests, opinion polls, content interaction. All of this is part of a silent market that constantly moves money. And when you understand this mechanism, you realize that there's nothing random here. There's a solid structure supporting it all. The hidden truth is that many people are already taking advantage of these opportunities, but they don't speak openly about it or simply lack visibility. Meanwhile, those on the outside think it doesn't work, when in reality they just haven't entered the game yet. And this creates a curious cycle. Those who act discover, those who doubt remain still. And it's not about blindly believing, but about testing intelligently. Small actions, done consistently, begin to generate signals. And these signals, little by little, transform into results. It's a journey built on details, on daily decisions that seem simple, but have a much greater cumulative impact than it appears at first glance. And if this logic is starting to make sense to you, comment here: "Now I understand the J degree." Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because this is where many people create the wrong expectations and end up frustrated before even understanding its true potential. When we talk about making money online with simple tasks, it's essential to be clear: this isn't a magic solution that will transform your life overnight. And, in fact, it's precisely this honesty that differentiates those who build something real from those who live jumping from opportunity to opportunity. In the beginning, earnings tend to be smaller, and that's part of the process. You're still understanding the dynamics, exploring the possibilities, and adjusting your approach within the platform. But it's precisely at this point that something interesting happens behind the scenes. Those who maintain consistency begin to notice gradual progress. It's not explosive, but it's increasing. And this growth carries a much greater impact than it seems at first glance. There's a hidden truth here. Small amounts of money, when accumulated strategically, can become significant, especially when you consider conversion rates and the compounding effect over time. But this requires a change in mindset. You stop seeking immediate gains and start focusing on building wealth. And that decision completely changes the game. Another important point is understanding that this can start as extra income, something on the side, but over time it can open doors to other opportunities within the digital world. Because when you enter this environment, you begin to see new ways to make money, new strategies, and new paths that you never even considered before. And all of this is part of a larger journey, where each small action contributes to a deeper transformation in how you deal with money, work, and decisions. And if this more realistic view made sense to you, comment here. Now I see differently. Entity, now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because the difference between those who earn little and those who actually start to see results isn't in the platform itself, but in the decisions the person makes within it. And that's where the behind-the-scenes aspects come in, which almost no one shows. Most people join, do some random tasks without any strategy, and then say it's not worth it. But those who understand the game act differently. There's a simple logic that generates impact: consistency with direction. It's no use doing a lot one day and then stopping for a week. Small daily actions, done with attention, begin to create a cumulative effect that completely changes the outcome over time. And this isn't just about money. It's about discipline, about mindset, about building a sustainable behavior. Another important point is learning to identify which tasks are truly worth your time. Not everything that appears there will have the same return, and those who begin to filter this intelligently start to optimize effort and results. It's as if you leave autopilot mode and enter a more strategic level within your own journey. And there's a detail that many people ignore. The environment is influential. When you start taking this seriously, even if it's something simple, your way of seeing opportunities changes. You begin to notice patterns, understand the system better, and even anticipate movements. This is practical evolution happening, even if silently. Ultimately, it's not about doing more. It's about doing better. It's about transforming something ordinary into a source of continuous growth, with conscious decisions that generate real results. And if these small changes have already started to make sense to you, comment here. I'm going to do it the right way now. No, now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because ultimately, everything we've talked about so far isn't just about a website, or about simple tasks paying in dollars. That's just the gateway. The real value lies in the mindset shift that happens when you start to see these opportunities clearly. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for something big, something that will change everything at once. But the hidden truth is that wealth building rarely happens that way. It stems from small, consistent decisions, almost invisible at first, but which over time generate a gigantic impact. And when you understand this, you stop looking for shortcuts and start building your own path. This journey of making money online, however simple it may seem at first, opens your mind to something much bigger. You begin to realize that there are various ways to generate income, that money isn't tied to a single model, and that you can gradually take more control over your own financial life. This completely changes the way you make decisions every day. Behind the scenes, what's really happening is a shift in identity. You stop being someone who merely consumes opportunities and become someone who identifies, tests, and extracts value from them. And that shift is powerful, because once you see that, there's no going back to the old pattern. And perhaps that's the most important point of all. It's not about where you start, but about how you decide to continue. Because it's this consistency, aligned with a new mindset, that builds something solid over time. And if you feel like you're entering this new phase, comment here. I'm turning into a chav. And if you've made it this far, you've probably already realized that this wasn't just another video. It was a deeper exchange of ideas, almost as if someone were showing you a path that's always been there, but that few people actually stop to see. If this type of content resonates with you, if it helps you think differently, make better decisions, and see opportunities that previously went unnoticed, consider subscribing to the channel. Because that's precisely the goal here, to continue bringing clarity, strategy, and practical insights to those who truly want to improve in this game. And tell me something, if you stayed until the end, comment here. I'm with you until the end. That shows me who's really on this journey, who doesn't just watch, but absorbs and thinks along. It's that kind of connection that makes it all worthwhile. Oh, and if at any point during this video you felt something clicked inside you, leave a like. Not as an obligation, but as a way to mark that moment, because sometimes it's a detail, an idea, that starts a bigger transformation. And there's a video over here that perfectly complements what we talked about today. It will help you take the next step with more clarity. Click on it and continue with me there.